Hello. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I'm going to continue with the same module, that is office solution development, and the same chapter. This is chapter number 2, that is office solution development. So in the last class we have discussed about the hosted codes and the introduction of this chapter. That is why we are going to study this chapter. What are the various advantages of using this chapter? So let's start with the previous class session. What we have covered to the last class, that is the hosted code and its various role in the office solution development, right? So let's start with the hosted code. So in the last class we have studied about the hosted code. That what is the hosted code? That is the add-in and the code behind the pattern are sometimes known as the hosted code. So whatever the add-in feature, whatever the code that is used behind the patterns are known as the hosted code, which means that your code runs in the same process as the office application. That means they are the running code, they are the weekend code, they are the getting code that is available, that is known as the hosted code, that which means that your code runs in the same process as the office application, that is the hosted code. Now then, who discovers the hosted code? That is what who discovers the hosted code, or why we are using the hosted code only? So for the code to run in the office application process, so any code that is running in the office application process, that is the office application process, that office application must be able to discover your code. So any code that is written in the, or that is run in the office application, that must be discover, that must be able to discover the code, that is a hosted code. So it is discovery is fine in itself. So office application must be able to discover your code, load the code into the process and run the code. So first of all, the office must be able to discover the code, then load the code and then run your code. That is the discovery of the hosted code, right? Then office add-ins are registers in the Windows registry so that the office can find and sort them. So whatever the registry backup, whatever the Windows registry that can be loaded up, that are registered in the Windows registry so that the office can find and sort them. That is the discovery of the hosted code. That means first of all the code will be discovered, then load the code into the process and then run your code. Using the Windows registry, using the registry seems a little non.NET, but this is necessary because Office 2003 talks to add-ins as if they were COM objects through the COM interrupt. So that is, they were COM object to the COM interrupt, that is available, that is used for the database, that is used for the hosted code that is available with the COM object. The code behind a document pattern does not require a registry entry. So whatever the code that is written behind the pattern, behind a document pattern, that does not require a registry entry. Instead, the code is associated with the document by adding some additional features, by adding some additional data to the document. That means whatever the code that is used in behind the document to use the additional data. Office reads these properties when the document opens. So Office reads these types of property when the document opens, and then Office loads the code associated with them. So first of all, it reads the property that when the document is opened, then Office loads the code that is associated with the document. So this is the discovery of the hosted code. So first of all, discover the hosted code that is available, that is using the Office application, that is using the Office application, that must be able to discover the code, that is add-in code that is used with the Office application. Then context provided to the hosted code. So first is discovery, then what is the context, what is the code that is provided to the hosted code. So it is critical that your hosted code get context. It needs to get the application object or the document object. So whenever there is a need for the hosted code, or whenever there is a need that the context will be provided to the hosted code, the context will be provided by the that context will be provided by the application object or the document object when it is loaded. So whatever the object that is loading, so that is loaded with the hosted code or application object or the document object. COM add-ins are provided with context through an interface implemented by the add-in class. So whatever the add-in class, that is a COM object, so COM add-ins are provided with the context to an interface that is implemented by the add-in class. Outlook add-ins in the VSTO are provided with the context. So whatever the Outlook object, that is MS Outlook or Outlook object that is provided with the Outlook content that is created in the project, that is discovered, that is using the object that is being customized. Next topic is entry code for the entry point for the hosted code. So one is the hosted code, then what is the context, who is the discover the hosted code, then what is the entry point for the hosted code. So that means what is the starting point for the hosted code. So at the startup, Office calls into the entry point when your code can run for the first time. So whatever the code that is run for the first time, that is available for hosting the codes, and register for the events that might occurs later in the session. And for a COM add-in, so if there is a COM add-in that is available, this entry point is the on connection method of the IDTE. That is, this is the on connection method of the IDTE extensibility to interface that is implemented by the COM add-in. There is an on connection that is available, that is used with the on connection, that is used with the data that is recovered, that uses the IDTE interface that is implemented by the COM add-ins. And for a VSTO Outlook add-ins and VSTO code behind a document, this entry point is the startup event handler. So whatever the VSTO code, whatever the VSTO Outlook handler that is available, that document is or that entry point is the startup event handler. That is the entry point for the hosted code. So this is the context provided to the hosted code, the entry point, and discovery of the hosted code. Now next is how the code gets run after the startup. So once the interface will be provided, how the code will run. So after the code startup, the code continue to run in one or more following ways. First of all, code runs in response to the event that is raised by the office. So if there is any event that is raised by the office, the code runs in response to that event. The most common way the code run after startup is in response to the event that occurs in the office application. So whatever the document, whatever the startup that is in response to the event, or whatever the event that occurs in the office application, that must be run by the code, or that must be run by the office. For example, office raises events when a document opens or cell in a spreadsheet changes. So this is one of the important line. So when the event occurs, whenever there is any modification, for example, when a document open in MS Word or any cell in a spreadsheet changes, so at that time the event occurs. On the basis of that event, the code will be executed, the code will be run. So listing 1 to 24 shows a simple class that listens to the activate event that Excel worksheet object raises. Typically, you will hook up event listener such as the one shown in the listing 1 to 24 when the initial entry point of your code is called. The next is interface method called on objects provided to the office. So whatever the interface method that is provided to the office. So listing 1 to 24 shows a simple class that listens to the active or activate event that Excel worksheet object traces. Typically, you will hook up event listener such as the one shown in listing 1.1 when the initial entry point of your code is called. Then what are the various interface method that called on object provided to the office? That is, what are the various interface method that is provided to the object? So objects such as the startup class for a COM add-in implements an interface known as the IDTE that has a method that the office calls during the run of the office application. This is the interface method that provides the interface flexibility, that is the IDTE. So that provides the interface method that has a methods that office calls during the run of your office. So whatever the run that is available, so they are providing the office calls for the office application. For example, if the user turn off the COM add-in, Office calls the on disconnection method on the IDTE interface implemented by the COM add-in. So whatever the COM add-in that is provided, that is the interface method that is provided by the object, or that called an object that is provided to the office. In this way, the additional code runs after the initial entry point has run. So whenever the initial entry point runs, so this is the additional code that will get executed. That is the interface method that is available or that is provided by the COM. So this is the interface method, then the code run in response to the event raised by the office. Then third is the event traced on the code behind the class. So this is also the next part, that is the event traced on the code. So that is the next part. Now the event traced on the code, whatever the code that is used behind the class. So one is the within the class, one is the behind the class. So in that case also the event traced. So the classes generated in the VSTO project. So whatever the classes that is generated, that is merged up in the VSTO project, that represent the customized application, that is there is a customized application that is going on, or the document handle the startup and the shutdown event. So that is represented by the VSTO code that represent the customized application or the document that handles the startup and the shutdown events. And after the constructor of the class executes, so whenever the constructor of the class executes, Office also raises the shutdown event. So there is a shutdown event that is also provided. So Office raises the shutdown event, and then when the document is about to be closed, Office raises the shutdown event. Sorry. So first is there are two types of event that is available. One is the startup and one is the shutdown events. So after the constructor is called, so whenever the constructor is called or constructor of the class executes, Office raises the startup event. So the startup event that is raised, and then when the document is about to close, that raises the shutdown event. So there is a startup event that is called when the constructor executes, that is the startup event, and when the document is about to close, that raises a shutdown event. Now next is how the code gets unloaded. So once the code is loaded, now what are the various steps by which the code will get unloaded? So your code gets unloaded in a number of ways depending on the development pattern you are using. So whatever the development pattern they are using, your code gets unloaded in a number of way. Whatever the code that you are getting, so it depends on the deployment. It depends on the development pattern that you are using. So whatever the development pattern you are using, it depends on that whether the code has been generated or whether the code has been unloaded or loaded in the development phase. So it depends on the development part that you are using. If you are using the automation executable pattern, so if you are using the automation executable pattern, your code unloads when the automation executable you have written exists. So whatever the code that you have written, whatever the demand that you have written, your code will unloads when the automation executable you have written exists. And if you are using the add-in patterns, your code unloads when the Office application exists. So if you are using the add-in pattern, so your code gets unloaded when the Office application exists or when the user turn off the add-in via an add-in management dialog. So whatever the dialog box that is available, that is used with the add-on objects, that is used with the management dialog. And if you are using the code behind the pattern, your code unloads when the document associated with you is closed. So if the document that is uploaded into that is loaded or unload when the document associated with it is closed. In the hosted patterns of running code, there is some method that is called or event that is notifying that you are about to be unloaded. So whatever the document, whatever the load, that is hosted code. So that is there is a method known as the event, or that is a race notifying that that you are about to be unloaded. And for the COM objects, Office calls the on disconnection method. So the code to be unloaded, the Office calls the on disconnection method, and for a VSTO code behind the document and out to add in, Office raise the shutdown event. So for the COM objects, there is the on disconnection method, and for the VSTO code behind the object, Office raises the shutdown event. So there are two types of event. One is the on disconnection method, that is for the COM objects. One is the VSTO code that is used for the that is used for also for the unloaded code, that is also used with the shutdown event before your code is unloaded. The next is Office Automation Executable. That is how to use the Office Automation Executable. So I'm just coming within 2 minutes. Uh, yeah, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello, yeah, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello Larry, are you able to hear me? Larry, are you able to hear me? So the next topic is the Office Automation Executable, that is how to execute the Office Automation tool. So that is Office Automation Executable. This section considers each of three patterns of the Office solution in detail. That is how the three patterns will be used. That is how we are using the three patterns that is used with the Office Automation. Of Office solutions or Office solution that uses the Office Automation tool, executable pattern uses or pattern startup by Office application in a straightforward manner. So whatever the Office application, whatever the Office solution that uses the automation executable pattern startup and Office application in a straightforward manner by creating a new instance of the application object that is associated with the Office application. So whatever the Office application, whatever the object that they are considering, they're considering the object that is associated with the Office application, that is Office executable or Office automation executable. That is finding out, so what is the executable file that is launching up with the Office automation tools. So Office solution that uses the automation or automation executable pattern startup and Office application in a straightforward manner, that is used by creating a new instance of the Office or application object that is associated with the Office application. So whatever the application object that is associated with the Office application, they are using the Office automation executable. And because the automation executable controls the Office application, the automation executable run code at startup at any time thereafter when executing control return to the automation tool. So whatever the automation tool, whatever the automation run, that code will be run in the automation executable file. So once the or because the automation executable controls the Office application, so the automation executable run codes at the startup point. So executable code run at the startup point and anytime thereafter when executing control returns to the automation executable. So first of all, it will execute the automation tool, that it will move to the return to the automation executable that is using the automation executables. And when an automation executable uses new to create an application object, so once or when the automation executable uses the new object to or uses the new keyword to create an Office application or the application object, the automation executable controls the lifetime of the application. So whatever the lifetime, whatever the executable code that is using up, that is controls the lifetime of the application by holding the created application object in a variable. Larry, I want to confirm you that whatever the project, are you able to hear me, Larry? Hello, are you able to hear me? What I am trying to say? Hello. Yeah, Larry, tell me the answer. Are you able to hear me or not? My voice is audible to you or no? So when an executable code or when the automation executable uses the new to create an Office application or the application object, it uses the Office application. So when an automation executable uses the new object to create an application object, the automation executable file or automation executable controls the lifetime of the application. So it controls the lifetime of the application by holding the created application object in a variable. So whatever the object they are creating, the object that or they create the object in a variable that holds the object or holds the created application object in a variable, and the Office application determines whether it can shut down by determining the reference count or the number of clients that are requiring its application project or object. So if the clients are more for creating the application object or for holding the application object, so it can shut down by determining the reference count or the number of clients that they are using its application object. In listing 2.1, as soon as a new is used to create the my Excel app variable, Excel starts and adds one of its counts of clients that it knows are holding a reference to the Excel application. So whatever the application object, whatever the client application they are holding a reference object to the Excel application object. And when the MySQL or when the MySQL or when the MyExcel app variable goes out of the scope, so if the MyExcel goes out of the scope, so that when the main exits, the .NET garbage collection releases the object. So there is a .NET garbage collection object that releases the object, and the Excel is notified that the console application no longer needs the Excel application object. So whatever the application object, whatever the criteria object that they are notified, that the Excel is notified with the console application, that is it no longer required for the Excel application object. That means they are creating the objects as a find out whether the Excel releases the object or not. And if the Excel releases the object, or the .NET garbage collection releases the object, and the Excel is notified that the console application is no longer needed. So that is no longer needed for the Excel application object. This causes the Excel count of clients holding a reference to the Excel application object to go to the 0, and Excel exit because no clients are left, or no clients are using the Excel anymore. That means no clients are using the Excel anymore, so they are using the Excel objects for getting the objects, for making the object that is used with the Excel objects. Because the Excel application object to go to the 0, and the Excel exits when the no clients are available. So if the no clients are available, the Excel exits the object automatically, so that it will go to the 0 point, right? So when you create an Office application by creating a new instance of the application object, so if any application object is created, if any object is created, or when you create an Office application object by creating a new instance, that means a new object of the application object, the application starts up without showing its window. So it starts up without showing its window, which proves useful because you can automate the application without distracting the user by popping up the windows. That is, they are using the window, they are getting the window, they are reducing the windows, that is using up, that showing up the windows, which proves useful because when you automate, or you can automate the application without distracting the user by popping up the window. So whatever the window, whatever the tool that they are using, so they are getting the pop-up menu for distracting the users by popping up the windows. And if you need to show the application object or application window that they are using, you can set the visible property of the application object to be true. That means you get the visible property. That is how they get to get the true object without going to the reference object. So once you have created the new instance of the object variable that is defined, so you have created the new instance of the application objects. The application starts up without showing its window, which proves useful because you can automate the application without distracting the user by popping up the window. So whatever the popping up, whatever the automation tool that is used, that is using the application without distracting the user by popping up the windows. And if you need to show the application window, you can set the visible property of the application object to be true. So whatever the object true, whatever the visible property of the application, that says to be the true. And if you make the main window visible, the user controls the lifetime of the application. So whatever the lifetime control, whatever the user control that is using, or whatever the user controls the lifetime of the application. In Excel, the application uh, are you not able to hear me? My voice is not audible to you? So that is using the application object that is available. So if you need to show the application window, you can set the visible property that is said to be true. So first of all, you use the new instance, but for the visible property for showing the application, if you need to show the application window, that window will be shown up by the visible property of the application object will be true. And if you make the main window visible, the user controls the lifetime of the application. So whatever the lifetime window, whatever the control window, that user controls the lifetime of the application. In Excel, The application will not exit until the user quits the application. So until and unless the user controls the application, there is no window that is visited or that is visible. The user controls the lifetime of the application. So that is the user responsibility to control the lifetime of the application. In Excel, the application will not exit until the user quits the application. So in the Excel, the user does not, or the user or the application will not exit. So whatever the application they are using, they will not exit the control until the user quits the application, and your variable holding the Excel application object is garbage collected. So whatever the garbage collected they are using the garbage collection for the holding the Excel application that is using to their garbage collection. So word behaves differently. The application exists. So word behave differently. Its application objects or the application exits when the user exits the application, even if the variable is still holding an instance of the word application object. That means it depends on the behavior. It depends on the application. In Excel, the application will not exit until the user quits the application. That means whenever I am using the Excel, the application will not exit or application will not close until the user quits the application. And in the word, there is a different way. The application exits when the user quits the application. So it depends on the variable to variable, application to application. That means in Excel, the application will not exit, and in the word, the application will exit when the user exits from the applications, even if the variable is still holding an instance of the word application object. This is a listing to one that sets the status bar of the Excel to say hello world and opens a new blank worksheet that is available in a worksheet. So that is using the add methods for the Excel workbook application. So there are two types of application that is available in this one. One is a word application, one is the Excel application. One word application is exit or will not exit when the user or till the user quits the application. But in the word, that is a different scenario. It's a exit the application when the user quits the application. They are fasting the application if the variable is still holding an instance of the word application object. That means they both work in a different way. Either they are using the Excel or they are using the word application, right? So they open a new Excel worksheet in Excel by calling the add method of the Excel workbook collection. Chapter 3 to 5, that is a programming Excel, working with the Excel event and working with the Excel object, that covers in this way. Now this is listing to 1, that is the listing to 1 that sets the status bar of the Excel to say the hello world. So this sets the status bar of the Excel, that is the using system using Excel equals to Microsoft Office dot interop dot Excel, then using system dot windows dot forms, then namespace console application, then the class program, then static bool exit equals to false, then static void main string args, then Excel application my Excel app equals to new Excel dot application. This is one of the important lines. So the one this is based on the C language. This program, that is a C programming, is used in this variable. So let's take a break right now and listen carefully, Larry. After the break, we will be considering or will be discussing the new assignment, new module assignment, that is employability and the professional development. Okay, so don't go from the class. So let's take a break, then move to the assignment part, that is how to do the employability and the professional development assignments. Okay, all right. So let's take a break, then move to the assignment part. And Larry, your assignment, you submit your assignment within that pattern only, within that format. Front page is same, that front page, that whatever you submit, that everything is same. So let's take a break, then discuss how you submit your assignments. All right. So don't go from the class. So let's take a break right now. So come. So come back from the break. Now let's start the session again. In this session, I'm going to continue with your new assignment, that is the employability and the professional development assignment, that is your unit number 3. as we have discussed this module, so let's start with this assignment on the business skills or how they are going to use. Hello, 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 hello. So how to use this assignment, that is a part of the assignment. So let's start with the employability and the professional development assignments. Now, Larry, my question is to you. You have submitted all your assignment, very good, keep it up, but you have not submitted the assignment in this format only. Are you able to hear me, Larry? Hello, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello. Yeah, Larry, are you able to hear me? Hello, 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 Larry. So, Larry, why can't you submit this in this format? That is a front sheet. Here your name is coming. Here my name, your date is coming. So why we are not follow this one? Everything is okay. The only thing that you now have to do is put your all the task and keep it the word file and put your task over here where the question is available. You put there your work over here, else everything is same. And two or more things that you have to in done, that is you have to write your name over here, submit it on, this is the task number, you have to give the page number where you have submitted this one. So this is the only task we have added on this one. So please focus on this one and give the assignments, every assignment basically in this format, because if you have not submitted the assignment in this format, that impact your grades, that impact your position in the overall position, because everyone has submitted the assignment in this format only. All right, Larry? So is that clear, Larry? All right, sir. So let's start with this assignment. So this is the assignment that is for the unit number 3, that is employability and the professional development. In this you have to fill your name. This is the date it issued, that is the today's date. That this is the completion date, that is a Monday. And then submitted on, that is you have to submit on Monday 23rd of January 2016. So this is you have to submit over here. Third is I think Sunday, right? So this is not Sunday, this is the 4th of January, that is a Monday. All right. So 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 this is 4 January, that is on Monday 2016, because this is 3rd 4th, that is on Monday. All right. So in this you have to write your name. Then this is the project assignment title, that is a problem solving study and the presentation. That is in this you have to study the problem as well as give the presentation on this topic, on the topic that is given below. These are the 4 learning outcomes that is available over here. That is a learning outcome 1, 2, 3, 4. That is the LO1, LO2, LO3 and the LO4. And these are the various assessment criteria that is given, that is 1.1, 1.2, 1.3, 1.4. There are 4 learning outcomes, there are 4 criteria of one learning outcome, that is LO1. And these are the 4 learning outcomes that is available, that is a 1.1, 1.2, 1.3 and the 1.4. And this is the task number 1 that is issued to you. Then LO2, that is be able to demonstrate the acquired interpersonal and the transferable skills. So whatever the transferable skills, whatever the interpersonal skill that is acquired with the learning outcome 1. And this is the assessment criteria, that is the 2.1 and the 2.2. This 2.1 is communicate in a variety of the styles and appropriate manners at the various level. That is how to communicate in a various styles, in a variety of the style that is available, and how to communicate in an appropriate manner at the various levels. Then 2.2 is demonstrate the effective time management strategies. That is what are the various effective time management strategies that is available for this task. Then this is the LO3, that is understanding the dynamic of working with the other. That is how you how you work with others, or how what are the various skills that is required, what are the various output skills that is required, what are the development part that is required for the working with the others. In this there are two parts. First of all, analyze the team dynamic, discuss the role that is developed play in a team and how they work together to share their views. So that is how they work together to share their views, that is available to achieve the shared goals. Then 3.2 is the discuss the alternative ways to complete the task. So what are the various alternative ways that is available to complete the task, to complete the role that is used to achieve the team goal, that is a 3.2. Then there is a LO4, that is be able to develop the strategies for the problem solving. That is what are the various strategies that is available for the problem solving. That includes three parts, that is 4.1, 4.2 and the 4.3. That is 4.1 is review the tools and the method for developing the solution to problem. That is what are the various methods that is used, what are the various tools that is used to develop the strategy, that is used to develop the scenario that is available with this concept. And then develop a appropriate strategy for resolving a particular problem. That is what are the various problems that is resolved with this issue. Then evaluate the potential impact on the business of implementing the strategy. That is how to implement that strategy, or what are the various potential work that is carried on with this activity. That is LO number 4, that is the 4.3 that is discussed. So this is LO number 4 that is discussed over here, that is LO number 4. Then this is a declaration that you have to give the declaration, that is that you have completed this one, for completed this one, this one, this one. That is a learning declaration. I certified that the work submitted for this assignment is on my research and the sources are fully acknowledged. This is available over here. Then student signature, then this is date. This is here your signature will come, and this is the date that when you submit the assignment. And this is the criteria for the passing grades. This is the M1. If you are using the effective judgment, in order to achieve this one you have to study this one. Then select, design and apply the appropriate method as a technique. So whatever the technical documentation they are giving, that is used for this one. And to achieve the M1, what are the various techniques that is used. Then present and communicate the appropriate findings. So the communication is appropriate for the familiar and unfamiliar audiences, and the appropriate media have been used. That is M3. Then D1 is use the critical reflection to evaluate your own work. That is what are the various methods that is used to evaluate the work. Then critical techniques have been justified and are demonstrated for this one, that is for the D1. And to achieve the D1 you must independently take development plan, that is how to develop the plan. Yeah, your correction is this one. Also these are the various evidences spaces that you have to give the evidences over here, page number. All right, and evidences is also available for this one. And for the D2, they take the responsibility for managing the content, that is the autonomy and the discussion that is used. In order to achieve the D1, you must follow these rules. And for the D3, that is demonstrate the convergent literal available, that is used for this one. So demonstrate with the creative thinking and the appropriate tool that have been discussed. And to achieve the D3, you must demonstrate, plan and implement the various sources of information that is available for various resources, implementation of the best corrective method, example time scales, strategies, resources, whatever the path that you are using. Then this is the assignment number, third page, that is assignment brief. This is the unit name, that is employability and the professional development, that is your unit number 3. This is your date, that is a Monday. You have to submit, that is on 4th. that is your 4th of January 2016, and today's date is a Monday, that is available over here, right? Then what is the assignment title? That is a problem study or the problem solving study, and the presentation, that is your title. And what is the main purpose? This is the main purpose, to provide the learner with the opportunity to acquire. So okay, Larry, so these are the various places that you have to show the, you have to fill the space like this one, some student name, then this is submitted on, then this is the evidence page, right? Then after this you have to put your signature over here, then this is the date when you have submitted, when you want to submit over here. Then you have to put your task, your answers over here only, or you have to attach the file with this self. Then what is the evidence that is presented, that you have to write over here. Then this is achievement summary, this is for my part, this is not for your part. All right, so that is your only part, that is the first or through 3 pages that you have to present over here, right? So these are the various tasks of this one, that is a case study. So this is a small IT market research company, that is the Apex IT solution, consists of 6 people who are adept at dealing with many varied surveys, such as designing the necessary computer software, briefing interviews, etc. Evident means the report, the Word document, or we can say the PPT that you are using to implement the concept. So if you are using the PPT, so you have to write the evidence at the PPT, that is a PowerPoint. If you are using the Word file, you have to write the Word. If you are using the Excel, you have to write the Excel. So whatever the evidence, whatever the tool, whatever the concept that you are using, you have to write over there. Either that may be a Word, that may be a PPT, that may be Excel, anything. All right. So that consists of 6 people who are adept at dealing with the many and the varied problem that is used with the survey, such as the designing the necessary computer software, dealing with this one, that one, and the company hires interviewers for its survey, and the 6 permanent staff never carries out the interviews themselves. Recently, the company was asked to conduct a market survey for a food manufacturer, and the details of the activities are given below. Activity number 1, design a survey, then print the questionnaire, that engage the interviewer, then prepare the interview instruction sheet, then set up the computer software, then brief the interviewer, then test the computer software, then supervise. These are the various activities. You have to perform these activities. Now, task number 1, be able to take the responsibility. Reflect your own current skills against the IT manager responsibility, qualification, and key skills in the job description. That is, what's your skills that acts as a manager's responsibility, their job, and so on. That is the task number 1. In the same way, there is a task number 2 that is used to demonstrate about the interpersonal and the transferable skills. That is, communicate in a variety of styles, such as the verbal and the non-verbal, openness and the responsiveness, formal and the feedback. That is, you have to demonstrate about the interpersonal and the transferable skills. Then task number 3, that is understanding the dynamic of working with the other, that is how you work with the others. So analyze the team dynamics, such as the informal and the formal settings, discussing the roles plays in the special teams, such as the skill and the style approaches mixes, and how they work together, such as the team building, identity, loyalty, and the commitment to shared benefits to achieve the shared goal. So whatever the shared goal that they are using, you are using the goal at the Apex IT solution. The 3.2 is discuss the alternative ways that you are using for the team goals of the IT manager at Apex IT solutions. Then task number 4, that is task number 4, that is the LO4, that is be able to develop the strategies for the problem solving. That is how you develop the strategies for the problem solving. So review the tools and the methods, such as the time scale, stages, resources, and the optical or critical path analysis for developing the solutions to problem, such as completing IT survey for all the levels of the end user with the time set at Apex IT solutions. Then develop an appropriate strategy for resolving the problem, such as stated below for the Apex that is used in the case studies. So you have been appointed for this one, this one, this one. So this is one of the tasks that you have to do. An individual presentation of your schedule will be required to demonstrate some of the attribute that is given, including the communication skill. So this is the task number 4. So there are only 4 tasks that is available, and evidence presented. For example, you have to present the report, you have to write the report. Then report. If you are using the PPT, you have to write the PPT over here, right? Then this is a summary, that is achievable or not, that is my task. You have to write your name over here. That's all. This is also my part, that whether you are achieved the goal or not. Then next is assignment feedback. If I want to give you any feedback, I will give the feedback to you. So I will mail this assignment to you right now. So this is the assignment that you have to submit your assignment. All right. So I have mailed you assignment regarding the employability and the professional development. So I have mailed you the assignment also for this employability and the professional development. All right. So that's all for today's session, and thank you so much everyone for listening me. And in the next class I'm taking your next topic, that is how to automate the Excel, or how to use the Excel automation via the console unit. That is the automation of the Excel via console application. That is the next topic. So let's stop over here and move to the next, or